All right, hello, welcome to week 2, even though it's still the first week of your summer session. So, like I said, we'll be covering 2 weeks worth of material every week in order to get through the 16 weeks worth of content in the 8 weeks that is the summer session. So, as we move into week 2, there's just a couple things I want to give you a heads up on, let you know what's going on so that you are well aware. I will be going through and manually grading your week 1 quiz, and you should see that updated in your grade center within the next several days. Just to make sure that all of the questions that you answered were correct and make sure that everything is in place. So be watching that in case you are questioning any of the responses that you put in your quiz. And then it is important to know moving forward that a lot of the quizzes do require a manual grade. So sometimes it's a fill in the blank or it's a short answer, and the system doesn't automatically grade those. Or in some cases it does grade it, but it doesn't accept several iterations of it. So a really great example is in your week 1 quiz in terms of feedback for assessment and how quickly I'll return your grades. The correct response was a week. So within a week, you should have your feedback for your various assignments and grades. And some students put a week and it marked it wrong, but it's still the right answer. So I just need to go through and make sure that those get marked as correct. And that'll happen several times throughout the semester. So never be afraid to reach out if you're like, what? I swear I got that question correct. But know that I will be going through those and grading them to ensure that you get the maximum points possible. So as we move into week 2, remember week 2 is due by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. So you have 3 days to work through the material, which I know is fast and furious, but that is the nature of the summer semester. So week 2 is where we talk all about ethics. And the reason that we do that is because this course does have an ethics designation, which means that we have to talk about ethics. So in week 2, I like to introduce you to the 5 ethical types that you'll be covering throughout the semester. And those are egoism, Kantian, divine command, virtue, and what am I missing? Oh, I'm missing utilitarian. So those are the 5 ethical types that we'll be talking about throughout the semester. And I always encourage students to learn the various definitions of those ethical types, and then we apply those ethical types to whatever food issue we're talking about throughout the semester. So remember, this is a global perspective course, which means that we welcome all perspectives. We explore the different food issues. There is no right or wrong answer, but it's also an ethics designated course, which means that we have to be able to apply these ethical types to whatever food issue we're talking about. And again, no right or wrong answer. So you're going to find that throughout the course of the semester, realistically, you could apply pretty much any ethical type that you want to these various food issues, as long as you are able to define it and then explain why you've applied that specific ethical type to that food issue. So this week you'll be completing a couple of things. You want to make sure that you complete a self-assessment. This self-assessment really just looks at your current knowledge on the different food issues that we're going to be talking about throughout the semester. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It really is a great question is, I support GMOs. And you may be like, I don't know what a GMO is, so maybe no, I don't support it, or I know what it is, and now that I know what it is, I still don't support it, or I know what it is, and I absolutely support it. So it really is just kind of a I like to call it a pre-quiz to just let me know where your current knowledge is on these different food issues and where you currently stand based on what you think you know about those food issues. So remember, no right or wrong answer, but you definitely want to get in there. That assessment's maybe going to take you 10 minutes at the most. So it's very low stakes, low key. Make sure you get in there and get that taken care of. The next thing that's embedded within your course module this week is a narrated PowerPoint that does talk you through those 5 different ethical types. So you definitely want to make sure you go in, I always encourage students to take some good notes on this or have a way to reference this as you move throughout the course, because every single discussion board is going to ask you to apply an ethical type to that specific issue. And you do want to make sure that you can defend it and know and understand the definition. So usually what I like to have students do is take notes on the different ethical types and then hang on to those notes throughout the semester so that you can reference back and forth and know what those definitions are and how you could apply it to the specific food issue that we're talking about. After you complete that narrated PowerPoint, you will complete a quiz that just quizzes your knowledge on how well you know and understand those ethical types. And then you're going to contribute to a discussion board. The discussion board is centered around exactly those ethical types. So I really want you to just spend some time thinking about those ethical types and then apply it to something that's maybe happened within your life recently, and share that with your peers, and then explain to us why you've applied that specific ethical type. The last thing is you will contribute to your first current event blog. Your first current event blog a lot of people really like this part of the class because it really is an opportunity for you to be looking in the news, to maybe if you still read the newspaper, you watch the news. If you're like me and you get news sources on your phone, it's a great way for you to just stay in tune with what's going on, especially as it relates to agriculture and food. And so I'm going to walk you through really fast. Embedded within your course module here is your very first current event. You'll be able to click on that current event and it's going to take you out to an area where you can then create a blog entry. And what I encourage students to do, it works very similar to a discussion board. You're going to want to make sure that you address the questions. So you're going to talk to us about what you learned. You're definitely going to want to cite that. So provide us with the link where you found the information, give us a synopsis, and then finally tell us how you feel about this specific food issue and how it relates to agriculture and what you eat. After you've completed your blog entry, you'll hit submit. So you'll go out, you'll click create, you'll say week 2 current event. The thing that I just saw in the news yesterday was that now it's white meat. So white meat and red meat are both causing high cholesterol. And they only did a study with 100 people, but the findings are saying that no matter what kind of meat you're eating, if it's white meat or it's red meat, it could potentially cause you to have higher cholesterol than your counterparts who are eating strictly a plant-based diet. So that's a great news story to share with your peers and just talk about how that relates to food and the issues around how one day we hear that red meat's good for us, the next day we hear it's bad for us. One day we hear that we should switch to white meat, and now there's a study saying that white meat could be equally damaging to our health as red meat. So you're going to post it, and then you're going to notice over here that your name probably shows up. Right now, there's no blogs posted, but if there was, you would see the names of your peers who've already posted a blog entry. And you would be able to click on their name and then go out and read their blog post. And at the bottom, you would see an option to comment. And that's how you're going to respond to your 3 peers. So make sure that you work through the blog feature in this week 2 section. Make sure that you take the time to understand where to find your peers' posts, and make sure you take the time to comment on your peers' posts, because that is part of your grade for those current event blogs. I will post with the announcement this week a little announcement that gives you some websites. So you'll see some websites here. These are just some ideas for you to go out and be able to find different news sources that are fairly reliable if you're trying to better understand how to find agriculture in the news. One of my favorite ones is NPR, and my favorite one that they have is called Salt. So if you were to just come in here and search Salt, you would find that everything that they do with the salt has to do with food. So if you're like, I only want to have one place to go, Check out the salt. Every day they're uploading new stuff about food and agriculture. So I'll post that link for you as well tomorrow, starting Thursday, so that you have access to that to be able to find those current event blogs. Moving forward, you will do a current event blog within every learning module. So 2 blogs a week about what's happening in agriculture. And I promise you, there is more than enough in the news for you to easily contribute to current events every week and not feel like, oh my gosh, there's not enough information about food in the news. So we'll cover a lot of those different things that are related to food in the news. Don't feel bad about duplicating some of the stuff that we've already talked about. Don't feel bad about further exploring some of the things that we've talked about. It's all really good stuff. So make sure that you contribute to your current event this week. Like I said, if you have questions, concerns, you're needing help with anything, please let me know. Otherwise, I will plan to see you all in week 3, which will open on Sunday, and that is where we will start the conversation around big chicken and the use of antibiotics in large commercial chicken farming. So have a fantastic week. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I will see you all on Sunday.